guys, how's it going? Pawinning here. Welcome back to my channel. It's awesome to have you guys here. So, as you guys can tell with the parts laid out right behind me, I'm going to be replacing the gritty exhaust system in my SI that you guys have seen in another video with a brand new system here from AWE Tuning. Now, if you're a Honda guy and you've never heard about AWE, that's totally normal. They just started entering the 10th gen Civic platform. AWE is a company that makes performance exhaust intakes and intercooling systems for a variety of vehicles here on the market. And I've actually worked with a couple of their products before, not on my channel, but on my friend Eli's channel, Ignition Tube. We actually installed Touring Edition exhaust systems in this old Audi S4 and most recently his Audi SQ5. So let me roll a couple of clips to show you guys how the car sounded with those two exhaust systems. Nice, rev.
Here, Pawin. You do the honors.
Oh, okay.
That's the perfect noise. Give me a little tiny. Oh yeah. Yep, that's the noise that I wanted. Alright, let's go for a ride, Pawin.
Watching this, a huge shout out goes to him for getting me connected with AWE, and to the whole entire AWE team. Thank you so much for sending me not only one but two exhaust systems here, one for my SI of course, and the second one is going to be going on my friend Eddie's Civic Type R next week after I wrap up the install here. So AWE has created two types of exhaust systems for the 10th gen Civic platform, what they call their Track Edition exhaust, and what I have right behind me, their Touring Edition exhaust. If you're looking for the loudest and most aggressive setup, I definitely recommend you guys consider getting the Track Edition exhaust. If you're looking for something that is more tame for daily driving, but still has a really aggressive exhaust note, definitely consider getting the Touring Edition exhaust. So if you choose to get an AWE system, you also get the option of choosing your exhaust tips. I chose to get chrome exhaust tips, and I believe Eddie has chosen to get black exhaust tips for a Civic Type R. But anyways, right now we're driving to my parents' place because my landlord would not be happy if I were taking apart this car in the parking lot in my apartment, of course. So I do want to note before I forget and begin this install and start filming today, I did do a little bit of preparation on the car. Basically, I put the car in ramps last week, took off the belly pan, located the 3 nuts that bolted the front pipe to the cowling converter, and sprayed down the exhaust nuts with penetrant oil. Let it soak for about an hour or so. Didn't need any heat, and then I took an impact and then removed those 3 nuts completely, and it came off relatively easy despite already being completely corroded after like 2 winters. And I did all that just so that I can make my life easier, so I can have the least risk of running into any problems. We don't really have a lot of daylight now that it's getting colder, so I only really have a couple hours to install this exhaust, so let's see how it goes. Okay guys, so we got everything unpacked from the car and I laid it out just to kind of get an idea where everything is going to go. Not really sure about where this piece is going to go right here, but I'm pretty sure that I'll figure that out once I remove the stock exhaust system. So to get my first impressions on the entire exhaust system, I really do like the way they designed this bracket section right here. I think it's going to look really cool underneath the car. Looking at the welds real quick, they look really beefy. And I'm not sure how corrosion resistant they are, but they seem like they will be. But of course, I'll give you guys more feedback on that once I enter winter this year. So moving on to the exhaust tips. These are beautiful. I already ate the lollipop that was included in the packaging, but these exhaust tips look very similar to the gritty exhaust system. So I'm really excited to get this installed into my car because it's going to retain the old look that I already enjoyed. And lastly, of course, don't forget that they provide a bunch of clamps and stuff in the bag right here in the same box that the exhaust tips came in. So you're pretty much all set to start the install.
To start this install, I chose to back the car onto service ramps, and then jack up the front end, securing the car onto jack stands. Next, I removed the skid plate by taking out the 2 Phillips head screws and 6 flathead screws surrounding the panel. I took some penetrant oil and applied it to the exhaust nuts and studs on the front pipe just below the downpipe. I then proceeded to take some lithium grease to soak the rubber exhaust hangers to prepare them for removal. Under the front subframe, I removed the assembly cover to expose the other end of the front pipe. There are 5 screws and 4 plastic clips that I had to remove to drop the back half of this cover. Doing so allowed me to soak penetrant oil onto the exhaust nuts as shown, and then remove them easily using an impact wrench. With the back half of the exhaust separated from the front pipe, I supported it with a jack stand. I then removed each of the 7 rubber exhaust mounts by hand. Before I removed the last 2 hangers just under the rear bumper, I supported the muffler with a jack, centering it as best as I can. I proceeded to remove these 2 exhaust hangers, and then I lowered the entire stock catback system, pulling it straight out from under the car. I moved up to the front pipe to remove the 3 exhaust nuts securing it to the downpipe. Despite my preparation efforts, 2 of the exhaust studs ended up coming out with the exhaust nuts. After removing the exhaust hanger next to the front pipe, I had to remove 2 screws at the front of the exhaust shield shown here so I could bend it into the exhaust tunnel to get enough clearance to wiggle the front pipe out from under the car.
Alright, finally got the entire exhaust system out. I kind of laid them out in the driveway here. That front pipe was definitely a pain in the ass to get out, but looking at the front here, I've pretty much lined up all the components next to each other just to double check that I got all the pieces that I need. It's a little bit shorter here on this end, but then when you match it up to this front pipe end right here, you can see that the front pipe of this one is a little bit longer, so I'm curious to see how everything lines up on that front. So general plan installing this new exhaust is I'm going to start at the front with the front pipes first, and then I'll just work my way back with all the pieces and kind of like loosely attaching the clamps as I do so.
To install the AWE exhaust system, I first transferred the old front pipe gasket to the new 3-inch front pipe. Then I reinstalled the front pipe, keeping in mind that the heat shield would need to be pushed up again in order to let the back end of the pipe slide over the front subframe. I did a rough cleaning on the downpipe flange and then reinstalled the front pipe. Because I didn't have replacement exhaust studs, I decided to reuse them for now, adding a little bit of high temp Loctite before tightening everything down. Now I reinstalled the 2 screws on the exhaust shield, making sure that they are only hand tight. To prepare the rest of the AWE system, I transferred the stock exhaust hangers onto the respective mounting points of the new exhaust system. They can be removed by hand, but I'll link a tool in the description that I believe will help make the process easier. Next, I arranged all of the clamps next to the respective joints on this exhaust system. Then I began piecing the whole system together under the car, one component at a time, starting from the front pipe and working my way back towards the rear bumper. I supported the rear muffler section on a jack and lined it up to the rest of the system. Once I got the muffler high enough, I reinstalled the exhaust hangers to the OEM locations as shown. Since I drive a sedan, there's an extra piece of tubing I needed to install to align the exhaust tips with the rear bumper trim. I proceeded to check the alignment of every component in the exhaust system, then tightened every clamp down with an impact wrench. Next, I installed the dual chrome exhaust tips onto the exhaust system. Don't forget that these tips can be changed to a different set if you choose to do so in the future, which is a pretty neat feature on an exhaust system that is also pretty easy to work with. To lock the center alignment of the entire exhaust system, AWE supplies these small clamps that you can install onto the sidemost exhaust hangers. They also supply the Allen key to tighten the clamps down by hand.
Alright guys, so that wraps it up for today's video installing this AWE Touring Edition exhaust system in my 2017 Honda Civic Si. I'm running out of daylight here, so I'm kind of rushing to get everything pieced back together before nightfall. But if you guys enjoyed the contents of this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. In the next video in this series, I'm going to show you guys a sound comparison between this system and the stock system, as well as provide my overall thoughts on the entire system as well. If you guys want to stay even more up to date on all my projects, feel free to also follow me on social media as well. I'm going to be posting a couple teaser clips here and there, as well as a couple things from AWE as well. So with that all being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Mm-hmm.